I want to introduce you to Jersey Chen, an MD, MPH. He is a research scientist and a cardiologist at Kaiser Permanente in Rockville. But why I want to introduce you to him is because he was first author of a 2010 CSWN paper that looked at recent declines in hospitalization for AMI, for Medicare fee-for-service. And then a year later, in 2011, it was JAMA, and his team showed a 30% drop in heart failure hospitalizations. Now, in the March 12th issue of JACC, a look at national trends in heart failure hospitalization rates, 2001 to 2009. You just keep getting bigger and bigger. Let's talk first about those first two papers, just in general terms of, there seems to be some very good news in terms of the numbers going down.
Yes, absolutely. For heart failure hospitalizations over the past decade, there's been around the order of 25 to 30% decline in heart failure hospitalizations. It's still good news. What we did in this paper was look at all comers, all ages, all insurance types, whereas in the prior JAMA paper, it was only concentrated on the Medicare population, the older population. And one of the reasons why the decline might be slightly less steep is because while we found that the overall trend was good in terms of the decline in heart failure hospitalizations, there were certain groups of subpopulations that the decline wasn't as steep.
And that included the young.
That's right. So patients 18 to 44, kind of that younger age group. And it's an interesting trend. It could mean that either risk factors for development of heart failure are less well treated in this group,
obesity,
or
maybe?
Perhaps.
AF, who knows?
Who knows? Or that the etiologies of heart failure for this younger population differ much more than the traditional ones we think about, such as heart failure or coronary artery disease. Many of these patients younger patients may be having heart failure due to alcohol or peripartum or other issues that are not your tried and true hypertension and coronary artery disease reasons.
Did you parse the data at all regarding whether they had reduced ejection fraction or
right, that's
normal
a good question.
Ejection fraction?
Right, and unfortunately with this data set, it's an administrative claims database and not clinical information. Was not available, but we are looking into clinical data sets where we can actually answer that question more specifically in terms of ejection fraction.
So is there a clinical message here that for younger patients we need to be more aggressive?
If they have risk factors, I would say that we should keep an eye out and make sure that they are more aggressive in order for them to have the same reductions in heart failure risk as the older population.
Because it would be nice to figure out what's happening so that we can reduce the risk in that population.
Absolutely. And there's another group that didn't seem to have quite as steep a decline in heart failure hospitalizations, and that was for black men, actually. While all the other race-sex groups had steep declines, the rate for black men was only marginally significant. And it could be that traditionally it's been known that for the black male population, that they have less access to primary care and treatment of risk factors, namely hypertension.
So for gender, there didn't seem to be an effect necessarily, men versus women, or did you look at that, or other ethnicities?
Well, we could only parse between Caucasians and African Americans. And for gender, we thought that we would look at it in race-sex groups rather than just sex groups overall, because
so the black men stands out in terms of not as much reduced risk, if at all, significantly.
That's right. In fact, it was not significant.
So that's another group that maybe more attention needs to be paid.
One idea has been to go to barbershops, which have been frequently an area where black men congregate socially and to have